The arrival. The vast emptiness of space suddenly erupted with a blinding flash of light. A massive ship, easily the size of a small moon, materialized just beyond Mars' orbit. Its sleek, silver hull gleamed in the distant sunlight, covered in intricate patterns that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization had arrived, and it was more magnificent and terrifying than anyone could have imagined. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, Earth's most advanced warship, as she watched the alien vessel on the main view screen. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. After years of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, they had finally found it, or rather, it had found them. Status report, Chen barked, her eyes never leaving the screen. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel's fingers danced across his console. The alien ship is holding position, Admiral. No signs of hostile intent, but their energy readings are off the charts. Whatever technology they're using, it's centuries beyond ours. Chen nodded, her mind racing through possible scenarios. Open a channel. Let's see if they're in a talking mood. As Patel worked to establish communication, Dr. Eliana Reyes, the ship's scanolonguist, approached the Admiral. We should proceed with caution, she warned. We have no idea how they might interpret our attempts at communication. Before Chen could respond, the view screen flickered to life. The image of a humanoid figure appeared, its skin a pale lavender hue with intricate, swirling patterns etched across its surface. Large, almond-shaped eyes of deep indigo regarded them with an unreadable expression. Greetings, beings of Earth, the alien spoke, its voice a melodious blend of tones that seemed to resonate within their minds. We are the Zarkonians, and we come seeking allies in our grand crusade across the stars. Chen stepped forward, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to our solar system. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Navy. We are honored to make your acquaintance and eager to learn more about your people and your crusade. The Zarkonian's expression remained impassive. We have observed your world for some time, Admiral Chen. Your species shows great potential, despite your primitive technology. We offer you a place among the stars to join our empire and share in the bounty of 1,000 worlds. A murmur of excitement rippled through the bridge crew, but Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. That's a generous offer, she replied cautiously. However, we would need to discuss this with our world leaders and learn more about what joining your empire would entail. The alien's eyes seemed to flash with an emotion Chen couldn't quite identify. Of course, we understand the need for deliberation. We will allow you 3 of your Earth days to consider our proposal. Know that acceptance will bring you wonders beyond imagination, while refusal— The Zarkonian paused, its voice taking on a subtle edge. Well, let us hope it does not come to that. As the transmission ended, Chen turned to her crew. I want a full analysis of that ship and everything we just learned, and get me a secure line to Earth Command. We need to prepare for every possible outcome. Over the next 3 days, Earth was a whirlwind of activity. Global leaders convened in emergency sessions, scientists pored over the data from the alien ship, and military strategists planned for scenarios ranging from peaceful integration to full-scale invasion. Admiral Chen found herself at the center of it all, shuttling between meetings on Earth and her ship in orbit. As the deadline approached, she stood before the United Earth Council, delivering her assessment of the situation. While the Zarkonians' offer of advanced technology and interstellar travel is tempting, Chen explained, her voice echoing through the grand chamber, their refusal to provide details about their empire and the implied threat in their message raises serious concerns. I recommend we approach this situation with extreme caution. The council chambers erupted in heated debate. Some argued for embracing the opportunity for advancement, while others warned of the potential loss of human autonomy. As the arguments raged on, Chen's comm device buzzed with an urgent message. Admiral. Patel's voice came through, tinged with worry. We're detecting multiple new energy signatures. More Zarkonian ships are arriving in the system. Chen's blood ran cold. She quickly relayed the information to the council, watching as fear and uncertainty spread across their faces. It seems, Chen said grimly, that our time for deliberation may have just run out. As she raced back to her ship, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was standing on the precipice of a new era, one that would test their resilience, ingenuity, and determination like never before. The Zarkonians had arrived with promises of wonders, but Chen suspected that the real challenge lay in preserving humanity's independence and spirit in the face of an overwhelmingly advanced alien empire. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a conflict that would reshape the galaxy and reveal the true strength of humanity. The misunderstanding. The sky above Earth glittered with an otherworldly light as more Zarkonian ships materialized in orbit. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, her jaw clenched as she watched the alien armada grow. The initial excitement of first contact had given way to a growing sense of unease. "How many?" Chen asked, her voice tight. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel consulted his displays. 15 ships now, Admiral, all similar in size to the first. They formed a perimeter around Earth. Dr. Eliana Reyes, who had been analyzing the Zarkonian communications, approached Chen with a concerned expression. "Admiral, I've been going over their language patterns. There are subtle undertones that our initial translations missed. Their use of crusade and empire, I don't think they're simply seeking allies. It's more like they're looking for subjects," Chen finished, a chill running down her spine. Before they could discuss further, the main view screen flickered to life. The same Zarkonian representative appeared, its indigo eyes now gleaming with an unmistakable hunger. "Beings of Earth," it intoned, "your time for deliberation has ended. We have come to elevate your species, to grant you the privilege of serving the Grand Zarkonian Empire. Resist, and you will be subjugated by force. Submit, and your transition will be less painful." Chen stepped forward, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We appreciate your offer, but Earth and humanity will remain independent. We're open to peaceful cooperation, but we won't submit to any empire, no matter how advanced." The Zarkonian's expression hardened. "Your primitive minds cannot comprehend the honor we bestow upon you. If you will not embrace our benevolence willingly, then we shall enlighten you through other means." The transmission cut off abruptly. Moments later, alarms blared across the Prometheus. "Multiple energy spikes detected," Patel shouted. "They're charging weapons." Chen's training kicked in, shields up, evasive maneuvers, and get me Earth command now. The space around Earth erupted into chaos. Zarkonian ships unleashed salvos of energy weapons, their beams cutting through Earth's defensive satellites like paper. The Prometheus shuddered as it narrowly avoided a direct hit. On the planet below, panic spread as the reality of an alien invasion set in. Military bases scrambled fighters, and missile silos prepared for launch. But humanity's most advanced weapons seemed pitiful against the Zarkonian onslaught. As the Prometheus weaved through the barrage, Chen received a priority transmission from General Helena Rodriguez, head of Earth's Unified Defense Forces. "Admiral," Rodriguez's face appeared on screen, her expression grim. "We're activating the Lazarus Protocol. You know what to do." Chen's heart sank. The Lazarus Protocol was Earth's last-ditch defense strategy, developed in secret for just such a scenario. It involved scattering humanity's best and brightest to hidden bunkers and off-world colonies, ensuring the species' survival even if Earth fell. "Understood, General," Chen replied. "We'll buy you as much time as we can." As Earth's meager defenses engaged the Zarkonian fleet, the Prometheus led a daring counterattack. Chen knew they couldn't win, but they could distract the aliens long enough for the evacuation to begin. "Target their lead ship," Chen ordered. "All weapons, fire at will." The Prometheus unleashed its arsenal, joined by the handful of other human warships in orbit. Their weapons, while advanced by Earth standards, barely scratched the Zarkonian shields. But the attack served its purpose, drawing the aliens' attention away from the planet. Hours passed in a blur of explosions and near misses. The bridge of the Prometheus was filled with smoke, sparks flying from damaged consoles. Chen watched with a mix of pride and sorrow as her crew fought valiantly against impossible odds. "Admiral," Potel called out, his voice hoarse from shouting orders. "We're detecting multiple launches from Earth's surface. The Lazarus Protocol is in effect." Chen allowed herself a small smile. At least some of humanity would survive to fight another day. "All right, people. We've done our job. Now it's time to make our exit. Plot a course for the rendezvous point." As the Prometheus prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, a massive Zarkonian ship loomed before them. A gravitational beam lanced out, holding the human vessel in place. "We're caught in their tractor beam," Patel yelled. "We can't break free." Chen's mind raced. They couldn't allow the ship's data to fall into Zarkonian hands. It contained too much sensitive information about Earth's defenses and the Lazarus Protocol. "Initiate self-destruct sequence," Chen ordered, her voice calm despite the gravity of the command, "and prepare to abandon ship." As klaxons wailed and the self-destruct countdown began, Chen took one last look at her beloved ship. "It's been an honor serving with all of you," she said to her crew. "Now let's show these aliens what humans are made of." The evacuation pods launched, streaking away from the Prometheus. Chen watched from her pod as her ship, the pride of Earth's fleet, exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The blast rocked the Zarkonian vessel, momentarily disrupting its systems. As the pods disappeared into the chaos of battle, Chen allowed herself a moment of grief for her lost ship and crew. But that grief quickly hardened into resolve. This was not the end. Humanity had suffered a devastating blow, but they were not defeated. As her pod hurtled through space towards an uncertain future, Admiral Sarah Chen began to plan. The Zarkonians had grossly underestimated human tenacity and ingenuity. This war was far from over, and humanity would prove to be a far more formidable enemy than the aliens could have ever imagined. Little did the Zarkonians know, their attack had not crushed the human spirit, it had ignited it. The coming days would test humanity like never before, but from the ashes of this defeat, a resistance would rise that would shake the very foundations of the Zarkonian Empire. The turning point. 5 years had passed since the Zarkonian invasion. Earth, once a vibrant blue jewel, now bore the scars of occupation. Vast swaths of land had been transformed into mining operations and factories to fuel the alien war machine. But beneath the surface, in hidden bunkers and secret bases scattered across the globe and beyond, the embers of human resistance burned bright. Admiral Sarah Chen, now the de facto leader of the human resistance, stood in a dimly lit command center deep within the lunar colony of Armstrong. Holographic displays flickered around her, showing the grim reality of their situation. But today, there was a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Report," Chen ordered as her senior staff gathered around. Dr. Eliana Reyes, who had become the Resistance's chief scientist, stepped forward. "We've done it, Admiral," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "Project Phoenix is ready." A hush fell over the room. Project Phoenix was humanity's greatest gamble, a revolutionary technology that could turn the tide of the war. Chen nodded, allowing herself a small smile. "Show me." Reyes activated a holographic display, revealing a sleek, almost organic-looking device. "We've reverse-engineered Zarkonian quantum entanglement technology and combined it with our own research into dark energy manipulation. The result is a device capable of instant, untraceable communication across any distance, and more importantly, it can disrupt Zarkonian energy fields." Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, now Chen's second-in-command, whistled low. "That could neutralize their shields and weapons." Exactly, Reyes confirmed. But that's not all. We've also developed a way to use this technology to enhance our own shielding and propulsion systems. We can finally match them in space. Chen's mind raced with the possibilities. For years, they had been fighting a guerrilla war, striking from the shadows and retreating before the Zarkonians could retaliate. But with this technology, they could finally take the fight to the enemy. How soon can we implement this? Chen asked. We've already outfitted a prototype ship, Reyes replied. The UES Phoenix is ready for her maiden voyage. Chen turned to Patel. Assembled a crew. We're going to test this technology ourselves. Hours later, Chen stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, a ship unlike any humanity had built before. Its hull shimmered with an almost liquid-like surface, adapting and morphing to deflect enemy scans. All systems online, Admiral, Patel reported from his station. Phoenix is ready for launch. Chen took a deep breath. Take us out, nice and easy. Let's see what this ship can do. The Phoenix glided out of its hidden lunar hangar, its revolutionary engines barely a whisper. As they approached Earth orbit, tension mounted on the bridge. A Zarkonian patrol ship loomed ahead. They spotted us, Patel announced. They're charging weapons. Chen's voice was steady as she gave the order. Activate Phoenix shield. A shimmering field enveloped the ship just as the Zarkonian vessel fired. The energy beam that had once torn through Earth's most advanced defenses splashed harmlessly against the Phoenix's shield. Shield holding at 100%, Patel reported, disbelief and joy mingling in his voice. They didn't even scratch us. Chen allowed herself a moment of elation before focusing on the task at hand. Return fire. Let's show them what we can do. The Phoenix's weapons lanced out, powered by the same quantum entanglement technology. The beams pierced through the Zarkonian ship's shields as if they weren't even there, reducing the alien vessel to a drifting hulk in seconds. As news of the Phoenix's success spread through the Resistance network, a wave of hope surged through the battered human population. For the first time in years, victory seemed possible. But Chen knew that one victory didn't win a war. Send the data to all our hidden shipyards, she ordered. I want a fleet of Phoenix-class ships ready as soon as possible. Over the next few months, the tide of war began to turn. Phoenix-class ships, built in secret facilities throughout the solar system, began striking at Zarkonian holdings. The aliens, accustomed to easy victories, found themselves on the defensive for the first time. The resistance grew bolder. Sleeper cells on Earth activated, sabotaging Zarkonian operations and liberating slave labor camps. Each victory, no matter how small, kindled the flames of hope among the oppressed human population. But the Zarkonians weren't defeated yet. As news of their losses reached the Empire's homeworld, they began to mobilize their full military might. Massive fleets, dwarfing the invasion force that had subjugated Earth, began to assemble. Chen watched the reports with growing concern. They're preparing for a final push, she muttered. They mean to crush us once and for all. Patel nodded grimly. Our new technology gives us an edge, but their numbers are overwhelming. If they bring their full force to bear, then we need to take the fight to them, Chen finished. It's time for Operation Starfall. Operation Starfall was the Resistance's most audacious plan yet, a direct assault on the heart of the Zarkonian Empire. It was a desperate gamble, but Chen knew that humanity's future hung in the balance. As the Phoenix led the human fleet towards the first jump point, Chen addressed her crew and, through quantum-entangled communications, the entire Resistance. For 5 years, we've endured oppression and hardship. We've lost loved ones, our homes, and nearly our hope. But we've never lost what makes us human, our courage, our ingenuity, and our unwavering spirit. Today, we take back our future. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will never yield. A cheer went up across the fleet. As they prepared to jump into Zarkonian space, Chen felt a mix of determination and trepidation. The coming battle would determine the fate of not just Earth, but all of humanity. The Phoenix engines hummed as they prepared for the jump. Chen gripped her command chair, her voice steady as she gave the order that would change the course of the war. All ships, prepare for jump. Operation Starfall is go. In a flash of light, the human fleet vanished, hurtling towards a confrontation that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. The final battle for humanity's future was about to begin, the counterattack. The human fleet materialized in the outskirts of the Zarkonian home system, a dazzling array of stars and planets spread out before them. At the center, a massive red giant star pulsed ominously, its outer layers harvested by colossal Zarkonian structures that powered their vast empire. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, her eyes scanning the tactical displays. The element of surprise had given them a momentary advantage, but it wouldn't last long. Status report, Chen barked. Lieutenant Commander Petel's fingers danced across his console. All ships accounted for, Admiral. Zarkonian defense grid is powering up, but they're still scrambling to respond. Dr. Reyes, who had insisted on joining the mission, added, the quantum disruption field is holding. Their long-range sensors are blind to our exact positions. Chen nodded, a grim smile on her face. Then let's make the most of it. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. Take out those orbital defenses. The human fleet surged forward, their advanced shields shimmering as they absorbed the first volleys from the surprised Zarkonian defenders. Phoenix-class ships unleashed salvos of quantum-entangled torpedoes, each one passing through Zarkonian shields as if they weren't there. Explosions blossomed across the Zarkonian orbital platforms. For the first time in their long history of conquest, the aliens found themselves truly vulnerable. But the Zarkonians were not a species to yield easily. From the surface of their homeworld, massive ships began to rise, dreadnoughts that dwarfed even their largest invasion cruisers. New contacts, Patel shouted. I've never seen energy readings like these. Chen's eyes narrowed. They've been holding back. These must be their elite forces. The space around them erupted into chaos as the Zarkonian dreadnoughts engaged. Even with their advanced technology, the human ships found themselves hard-pressed by the sheer firepower arrayed against them. Admiral, Reyes called out, her voice urgent. I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations from that star-harvesting structure. I think they're trying to weaponize their sun. Chen's blood ran cold. If the Zarkonians succeeded in turning their star into a weapon, not only would this battle be lost, but countless other worlds would fall to their power. We need to take out that structure, Chen decided. Patel, have the fleet concentrate fire on the dreadnoughts. We're going in. The Phoenix broke away from the main battle, diving towards the massive stellar engineering project. Zarkonian fighters swarmed around them, their weapons splashing harmlessly against the advanced shields. As they drew closer, the true scale of the structure became apparent. It was a work of engineering that bordered on the impossible, a vast network of energy collectors and processors that encircled the star like a metallic web. How do we destroy something that big? Patel wondered aloud. Reyes, who had been analyzing the structure, spoke up. We don't have to destroy all of it. There, she pointed to a pulsing node near the star's chromosphere. That's the main power regulator. If we can overload it, the whole system will collapse. Chen nodded. Take us in. All power to forward shields and weapons. The Phoenix dove into the star's outer layers, its hull groaning under the immense heat and pressure. They weaved through a maze of energy conduits and processing plants, each larger than a city. We're within range, Patel reported, but our weapons aren't powerful enough to breach that node's defenses. Chen's mind raced. They had come too far to fail now. Then, an idea struck her, dangerous, possibly suicidal, but it might just work. Plot a collision course, she ordered. Admiral. Petel's voice was incredulous. You heard me. We'll use the Phoenix itself as the weapon. Overload our quantum core and eject it into the regulator just before impact. The resulting explosion should be enough to destroy it. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. They all knew what this meant. There would be no escape for the crew of the Phoenix. "It's been an honor serving with all of you," Chen said softly. "But this is bigger than us. The fate of Earth, of all free species in the galaxy, depends on this moment." Reyes stepped forward. "I'll stay to make sure the core overloads properly. The rest of you should evacuate." Chen shook her head. "No. I started this war, and I'll see it through to the end. Patel, you have command of the fleet now. Make sure our sacrifice isn't in vain." Patel stood at attention, tears in his eyes. "It's been an honor, Admiral. We won't let you down." As the evacuation pods launched, carrying most of the crew to safety, Chen, Reyes, and a skeleton crew guided the Phoenix on its final mission. The ship shuddered as it pushed through the star's turbulent outer layers, alarms blaring as systems began to fail under the strain. "Core overload in 30 seconds, Reyes reported, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Chen watched as the regulatory node grew larger on the view screen. "For Earth," she whispered. The Phoenix slammed into the Zarkonian structure just as its quantum core detonated. The resulting explosion was visible from across the star system, a blinding flash that momentarily outshone the red giant itself. As the light faded, the massive stellar engineering project began to break apart. Without its main regulator, the entire network collapsed, releasing the harvested stellar energy in a massive shockwave that swept through the Zarkonian fleet. From the bridge of his ship, Patel watched in awe as the tide of battle turned decisively. The Zarkonian dreadnoughts, their power systems overloaded by the shockwave, drifted helplessly in space. The rest of their fleet, in disarray, began to retreat. As the human fleet pressed their advantage, a transmission came through, from the Zarkonian homeworld itself. Their supreme leader, voice trembling with a mixture of fear and awe, was calling for a ceasefire. For the first time in their long history, the Zarkonians had met a force they could not conquer. Humanity, against all odds, had prevailed. As celebrations erupted across the human fleet and back on Earth, Patel stood silently on his bridge. He raised a hand in salute to the dissipating energy cloud where the Phoenix had made its final heroic stand. "We did it, Admiral," he said softly. "We won. The battle was over, but the work of rebuilding, of forging a new future for humanity and reshaping their relationship with the galaxy, was just beginning." And somewhere in the vastness of space, the legacy of Sarah Chen and the crew of the Phoenix would live on, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The revelation. In the months following humanity's stunning victory over the Zarkonian Empire, a new era of interstellar relations began to take shape. The ceasefire had evolved into tentative peace talks, with representatives from Earth meeting with Zarkonian delegates on a neutral space station orbiting a distant star. Commander Raj Patel, now acting as Earth's chief diplomatic and military liaison, stood before a window overlooking the vast expanse of space. The weight of his new responsibilities pressed heavily upon him, as did the absence of Admiral Chen and the other heroes who had sacrificed everything for this moment. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. "Commander," his AI assistant spoke, "the Zarkonian High Counselor is ready to meet with you." Patel straightened his uniform. "Very well. Let's see what revelations today brings." He entered a large circular chamber. On one side sat the human delegation, a diverse group representing Earth's united government. On the other, a group of Zarkonians, their lavender skin shimmering under the room's soft light. At the center stood the Zarkonian High Counselor, Zarvek, his indigo eyes reflecting a mixture of wariness and curiosity. "Commander Patel," he began, his voice carrying the melodious tones characteristic of his species, "we are prepared to share information that may illuminate the true nature of our conflict." Patel raised an eyebrow. "We're listening." Zarek activated a holographic display in the center of the room. It showed a vast star map of the galaxy, with certain regions highlighted in pulsing red. "For millennia, our empire has expanded across the stars, driven by a singular purpose: survival." The display zoomed in on one of the red areas, revealing a mass of swirling, chaotic energy. These are entropy storms, Zarek explained. Vast regions of space where the fundamental forces of the universe break down. They have been spreading, consuming entire star systems for as long as our recorded history. Murmurs of shock rippled through the human delegation. Dr. Eliana Reyes, who had survived the Phoenix last mission and now served as Earth's chief scientist, leaned forward. That's impossible. The laws of physics are breaking down, Zarek finished. We don't know why, but we do know that without intervention, these storms will eventually consume the entire galaxy. The implications were staggering. Patel's mind raced as he processed this information. Your empire, your crusade across the stars, Zarek nodded solemnly, was an attempt to find a solution. We harvested the energy of stars, subjugated other species, all in service of developing technology to combat these storms. But why the secrecy? Plato demanded. Why not tell us from the beginning? The High Counselor's expression softened, showing a vulnerability that seemed out of place on the face of a conqueror. Fear, pride, millennia of operating in secrecy. We had grown accustomed to seeing other species as resources to be used, not allies to be trusted. Reyes interjected, her voice tight with controlled anger. You could have asked for help. Instead, you brought war and suffering to countless worlds. A mistake we now recognize, Zarek admitted. Your species' resistance, your ingenuity in the face of overwhelming odds, it has forced us to reconsider many of our long-held beliefs. Patel absorbed this information, his tactical mind already considering the implications. The stellar engineering project we destroyed in your home system was our most advanced attempt at creating a barrier against the entropy storms, Zarek confirmed. With its loss, we are more vulnerable than we have been in eons. A heavy silence fell over the room. The revelation had changed everything. The conflict that had seemed like a simple tale of resistance against oppression had transformed into something far more complex, a struggle for the very survival of all life in the galaxy. Plato exchanged glances with his team before addressing Zarek. What you've told us, it changes things, but it doesn't erase the harm you've caused. If we're to work together against this threat, there must be accountability, reparations. Zarek bowed his head. We understand, and we are prepared to make amends. But time is not on our side. The entropy storms continue to grow. Dr. Reyes stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her initial anger. We'll need to verify all of this, of course, but if it's true, our combined scientific knowledge might be our best hope. Patel nodded, a plan already forming in his mind. We'll need to inform Earth's leadership, and then the rest of the galaxy. This isn't just about humans and Zarkonians anymore. Every spacefaring race will need to be involved. As the meeting continued, discussing the logistics of a galaxy-wide coalition, Patel found his thoughts drifting to Admiral Chen and the crew of the Phoenix. They had given their lives believing they were fighting for Earth's freedom. Now, it seemed, their sacrifice had paved the way for something even greater, a chance to save not just humanity, but all life in the galaxy. Hours later, as the delegates filed out of the chamber, Patel remained behind, staring at the holographic display of the encroaching entropy storms. The challenge ahead was immense, perhaps even impossible. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was beating impossible odds. We'll find a way, he murmured, thinking of Chen's unwavering determination in the face of overwhelming odds. For the Admiral, for Earth, for all of us. As he turned to leave, Patel felt a mix of trepidation and excitement. The war might be over, but humanity's greatest challenge, and perhaps its finest hour, was just beginning. The revelation had changed everything, and now the fate of the entire galaxy rested on what they did next. The new era. 10 years had passed since the revelation of the entropy storms. The galaxy, once divided by conflict and mistrust, had united in the face of this existential threat. Earth, no longer just a small blue planet on the fringes of known space, had become the heart of the Galactic Coalition, a union of species dedicated to combating the encroaching chaos. Commander Raj Patel, now Admiral Patel, stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive structure orbiting a neutron star at the galaxy's core. The station, a marvel of multi-species engineering, served as both the Coalition's headquarters and its primary research facility. "Admiral," a voice called. Patel turned to see Dr. Eliana Reyes approaching, her hair now streaked with grey, but her eyes still bright with the same determination he'd seen a decade ago. "The final test is ready." Patel nodded, his heart racing with a mixture of hope and anxiety. "Let's hope 10 years of work pays off." They made their way to the central control room, where representatives from dozens of species worked in harmony. Humans sat alongside Zarkonians, their former enmity replaced by mutual respect and shared purpose. Other alien races, some only recently discovered, added their unique perspectives and technologies to the collective effort. At the center of it all stood the Nexus, a colossal machine that represented the pinnacle of their combined knowledge. It was the culmination of a decade of research, reverse engineering Zarkonian stellar technology, and combining it with breakthroughs from a dozen other civilizations. High Counselor Zarek, looking older but no less determined, joined them. "Are we ready to proceed, Admiral?" Patel took a deep breath. "As ready as we'll ever be. Dr. Reyes, begin the sequence." Reyes nodded and began the activation process. The Nexus hummed to life, its core glowing with an otherworldly energy. On the main view screen, they could see their target, an entropy storm that had been approaching a heavily populated sector of the galaxy. "Quantum field stable," one of the technicians reported. "Targeting systems locked." "Initiating primary sequence," Reyes announced, her fingers dancing across the controls. The Nexus pulsed, sending a beam of concentrated energy towards the entropy storm. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the edges of the storm began to recede. A cheer went up around the control room, but Patel held up a hand for silence. "Wait," he cautioned. "We're not done yet." As they watched, the storm seemed to fight back, tendrils of chaotic energy lashing out against the Nexus's beam. The station shuddered under the strain. "Power fluctuations detected," a Zarkonian engineer called out. "The Nexus is drawing more energy than anticipated." Patel turned to Zarek. "We need more power. Can the stellar tap handle it?" The High Counselor nodded grimly. "It must. Divert all non-essential power to the Nexus." As additional energy flowed into the machine, the tide of the battle began to turn. The entropy storm, which had consumed countless star systems over millennia, began to collapse in on itself. "It's working," Reyes exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. "The storm is destabilizing." With a final pulse of energy from the Nexus, the entropy storm imploded, leaving behind nothing but empty space where once chaos had reigned. The control room erupted in celebration. Species that had once been bitter enemies embraced, united in their triumph. Patel felt a weight lift from his shoulders, a weight he'd been carrying since that fateful day when Admiral Chen had sacrificed herself to save Earth. As the festivities continued around him, Patel found a quiet corner and looked out at the stars. "We did it, Sarah," he whispered. "We saved them all." Zarek approached, his expression solemn despite the victory. "This is only the beginning, Admiral. There are more storms out there, and we've expended a great deal of resources on this one." Patel nodded. "True, but we've proven it can be done, and more importantly, we've shown what we can achieve when we work together." In the days that followed, news of the successful entropy storm dissipation spread across the galaxy. Planets that had lived in fear for generations celebrated their newfound hope. The Galactic Coalition, once viewed with skepticism by many, was now hailed as the galaxy's salvation. But as Patel had noted, challenges remained. The Nexus required immense amounts of energy, and there were still many entropy storms threatening populated regions of space. The work ahead was daunting, but no longer seemed impossible. 1 month after their historic success, Patel stood before the Galactic Coalition Assembly, addressing representatives from hundreds of worlds. 10 years ago, we faced extinction, he began. We were divided, suspicious, seeing each other as threats rather than potential allies. But in our darkest hour, we found our light. We came together, pooled our knowledge, our resources, our hope. He paused, looking out at the diverse faces before him. We've proven that we can push back the chaos, that we can rewrite the very laws of physics when we stand united. The road ahead is long, and there will be setbacks. But I stand here today filled with hope, not just for humanity, not just for the Zirconians, but for all life in this galaxy. As applause filled the chamber, Patel thought back to those early days of the war, to the sacrifices made by so many. They had started this journey fighting for the survival of their individual species. Now they fought for something greater, the right of all sentient life to exist, to grow, to reach for the stars without fear. The entropy storms still loomed, a threat greater than any single empire or armada. But for the first time in cosmic history, the galaxy stood united against the encroaching chaos. And in that unity, there was hope. Hope for a future where the light of civilization would forever push back the darkness. As Patel concluded his speech, he felt a sense of purpose stronger than any he'd known before. The war was over, the old enmities put aside. A new era had dawned, an era of cooperation, of shared purpose, of infinite possibilities. And somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of space, he liked to think that Admiral Chen was smiling, proud of how far they'd come and excited for the journey that still lay ahead. The entropy storms may rage, but united, the galaxy would face them. Together, they would forge a future among the stars, writing a new chapter in the cosmic story, one of hope, unity, and the indomitable spirit of life itself.